Good morning, Doug. Doug was first on today, and Bill is a close second, and Vicky is a close third. How's it going, everyone? Hey, Rick, good to see you. All right, guys, what we're going to do this morning is we're going to take a look at this easy jazz etude, and we're going to talk about all the different things that you get out of an etude like this. There are generic licks and ideas that I think are really, really important. Also, chord tones and left-hand voicings. I also put in this week's folder, I put the backing track, a jazz backing track. It's a little bit quick for what I want, so I'll probably redo it and do a little slower version of it, but I think you guys are going to really enjoy what we're going to do. Also, welcome our YouTube community. We are back. We took off for the 4th on the Friday for Chord Academy, but we are back in action, so it's great to see you. Great to be with you guys on a Monday morning. All right, so let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to make sure you should have the link in the email that went out. So let me do this. Let me turn on the track and let's start going over some of these things. All right, let me see. I think let's test the volume here. I'm going to do the left-hand voicings and let me know if it's too loud, too soft. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4 in the key of C, doing a simple jazz etude. Getting your left-hand voicings down. And let me know how the balance is. And a 1, 6, 2, and 5 again, and 2, and 3, and 4. Two, and 3, and 4, and 2. Rick says it's good. Awesome. And 2, and 3, and 4, and 2. Awesome. All right, very good. Now, what I'm doing right now is very accessible. Vicky says the backing track could be a little bit louder. Let's see about that. Let me just boost it just a little bit. Let's try that. All right, let me go ahead and stop this now. We'll come back to this backing track, and this is in the folder for this week, so no worries there. You'll have the backing track. Also on Thursday, just so we're all clear, this same etude that we're doing, we're going to do stride piano, so solo piano version of this, and we're going to continue this idea of simple ways to get into stride piano. So you'll have this etude that works perfect for the left hand to match up with that. All right, now let's go ahead and dig into this PDF. And again, good to see you, Dad. Good to see you, Jeffrey, the most consistent man at iMusicAcademy. I think we're all ready to go. Okay, so the first thing in the right hand for this PDF, and you guys have the links here, but let's do this. Let me pull up the PDF, and we're gonna just make sure I can look at it as well. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is, this says on the top, Basic Stride Etude. I actually changed the title when I put stride piano in it next. So this is a jazz trio, not a basic stride jazz etude. This is a trio. So the bass player's doing his thing, and you're playing these left-hand voicings. Let the bass player do his thing. So left-hand voicing. So 3, flat 7, 9. You guys know a 3 from the C scale, whatever chord you're spelling, you always think of that key signature. So if I'm spelling a C9, which is a very basic but very good professional sounding voicing for the left hand, for a 3-note voicing, you can go 3, flat 7, 9 of the C scale. So again, normally C major, all white notes, we know that, but go 3, flat 7, there's your flat 7, and 9. The reason I call that a 9 and not a 2 is because I'm spelling notes on top of the flat 7. If I have a flat 7 in there and I add a note on top up here, it's going to be a 9 voicing, a C9. So that wants to go to my F13 by just going down a half step, right, with my bottom 2 voicings. So now the trick is to make sure you understand that from this C9, it wants to go in the blues, it wants to go to 4 chord. It wants to go to that F13 voicing. Now, if I'm playing our basic shuffle style blues, that's going to also want to go to the 4 chord, right? You hear it. We go. And sometimes we'll go 4 measures. And it's going to go to the 4 chord, which is F. It's just a natural thing for the blues to want to go from the 1 chord to the 4 chord. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to keep going. We're going to go through these chords really quickly in the left hand, because with iMusicAcademy, you like to make sure we repeat these ideas. So it's not just one lesson and then you're done. No, this is like this C9 voicing we do all the time at iMusicAcademy. It's really important. So let me go ahead and just check the chat again and make sure everybody's good. We're all on the same page. And all right, very good. So the 1 chord, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and then the bottom 2 notes go down a half step, and now you have an F13. Now, how do I spell that? It's easy to say, yes, the bottom 2 notes go down a half step, but now you're on an F13. Now, F13, you have to spell that knowing the major scale for F. F has 1 B flat, and that's your B flat is your flat. And so if I say flat 7, 3, and 13 of an F chord, it's an F scale, and I say that's the flat 7 of an F note. And as I always say, how do you find the flat 7 of any note? Just go down a whole step, and that'll give you the flat 7. So flat 7, 3, and 13. The reason I call that the 13 and not the 6th note of the F scale is because I have that flat 7 in there, and now I'm adding notes on top, which are called extensions. Has a nice little bluesy but jazzy sound, doesn't it, right? The F13. All right, so back to this. C9, 2, and 3, and 4, and F13, 3, 4, back to C9. Now, this next thing I call pinky up, pinky down, because it is exactly what it says. If I go pinky up, it gives me G minor, a very simple G minor, and then pinky down gets me back to C9. I've always taught that to students. It doesn't matter your age or stage. I'm going to tell you pinky up, pinky down, because it's so easy. And now we're moving along back to your F13. Now, in real time, I'm going to play this through and show you how easy this is once you get your C9. 1, 2, 3, 4. F13, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Now you go pinky up and pinky down. Now back to the F13, 2, 3, 4. And the great thing about the jazz blues, I'm not going to talk too much about why this works right now, but if I go to the F chord and then I'm going to go F sharp diminished, which is a really important chord, I can keep the same chord in my right hand. And I'll just tell you this, the reason that actually works to keep this same voicing over this bass line and this bass line is because it's part of what's called the diminished scale. And all that is a scale built on half steps and whole steps. So watch, there's from F, that's a half step, then a whole step, and then another half step, and then a whole step, and then a half step, whole step, half step. So that diminished scale, even if I'm on an F chord or F sharp diminished, it's all part of the same scale. That's the reason that works, but we'll talk more about that on another lesson because the diminished scale is a really fun scale to know. Okay, so then we're getting close to the end of the blues, so let's do a review of that again. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and F13, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3. Now pinky up and pinky down. Rick says that's memorable. Yes, it is. And then here we're going to stay on the same chord. And then we go back to C9, which is the 1 chord of the C jazz blues. And then it goes to the 6th chord. Now for the 6th chord, we're going to play this right here. Flat 7. 3, and it's really a flat 13 of the A scale. Now this is sort of your butter voicing, like a really nice voicing that's going to go. So think about the A scale and you say, all right, that's the flat 7, that's the 3. You can say it's a sharp 5. Sometimes I think about it as like the sharp 5. Really think about it maybe like the flat 13 note. But for now, you can even just think G, C sharp, and F, and that would be fine as well, because this is kind of unfamiliar territory to my beginners, but at the same time it's so nice you need to get it in your playing. And then that goes to a D minor 9, so this melody note goes ba da. Now everybody listen to how beautiful that is. That's a D minor 9. From a D scale, that's the flat 3, that's the flat 7, and that's the 9. And once again, the reason I can call that the 9 is because there's my flat 7. I'm stacking notes on top, and a D minor 9 wants to go to a G13 by just lowering one note. My index finger goes down from C to B. So we have this D minor 9 to G13. And then I do what's called the turnaround, which is C, A, D minor, G13, or 1, 6, 2, 5. Again, 1, 6, 2, 5. And you hear that all the time when you get to the end of a song. It almost doesn't matter the song you're going to hear this kind of sound. Now, you can do tons of variations. I can go 1, 6, 2, 5, like Heart and Soul, right? And all I'm doing here is doing the turnaround. A turnaround is a set of changes, chords that get you back to the top of the song. 1, 6, 2, and 5. And then we're at the blues again. Now, we're about to get into the right hand of this particular etude, and I spent a lot of time so far talking about the left hands because you need to be reminded of the left hand voicings. We always need to be reminded of that. And also, this right hand etude is going to feel familiar in a lot of ways, and we'll make sure we knock that out. So let's just at least play through this etude one more time, just left hand voicings with the backing track. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. F. C, here's pinky up, pinky down, 2, 3, F sharp diminished, same chord, and A7, to D minor 9, 2 and 3 and 4, G13, 1, 6, 2, 5, again, one more time, 2, 3, 4, 4, and 2 and 3, pinky up. 2 and 3 and 4. 2 and 3 and 4. 2 and 3 and 4. 2 and. All right, awesome. All right, I hope you've enjoyed that part of the lesson, and I think that's going to be really helpful. Just make sure you go back and watch this. All right, very good. Doug loves this etude. Doug, because you are a member of the YouTube channel and you're an elite member, and really all of my members will get this etude today because it doesn't matter your level. I'm sending that out. Just so everybody knows how it works, if you're an elite member, anytime I go live, you get all of those PDFs. And if you're in the middle, there's a tier in the middle, you get 2 PDFs. And then if you're on the musician level, it's 1 PDF a week. So you can really get a lot done there. So I will put that, as soon as we get done, you will have the etude inside of the membership. All right, here we go, guys. Let's work on this right hand. So the first thing, it goes right out of what we've been working on, right? You thinking chord tones here, everyone. So da 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 bum ba da da. And I'm just practicing this because I want to get this down. It doesn't matter what key I'm in. That's a great thing to practice. And think about this G triad. If you understand that, put got it. Rick, I want to make sure you have it as well, of how we practice these simple ideas. I mean, we're really working our ears, our fingers, and just our overall concept of music. And when we think about visually, I'm thinking C triad, and here I'm nailing some chord tones, also thinking about that minor third to major third, right? What a simple thing to do, and to add, you're welcome, Doug, and to add this to our PDF. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the PDF again. So the first part, all right, Rick's got it. Of course, Rick does. So we have this, and then that goes to, now why I did that right there, all right, Bill's got it, awesome. And Bill is our newest all access member, of course. So Bill, it's so good to have you on the team. We have a couple other people checking the membership out, but it's so awesome to have you, Bill. Now watch this. Why did I do that? Remember how I said you can take this and go minor, but look what it does when I go to the F13 and I do a C minor there. It gives me the F7 that I need. That's why that E flat works. And then I go back to here and I go, and I do this. So during your pinky up, pinky down, pinky up. Now if you look at those notes, those are right out of the G minor to C. So we do it very slowly, and we go, and we have F, and back to C. Dad's got it. All right, watch this. Now we have this, which we already did, and now we have this. Now that's a little bit different. We go, we were here, and then we did this. And the reason I did that is over the F sharp diminished part, the part where I told you this scale works, that's built on whole steps and half steps, I have to go, all right, it's a little bit of tension, and then it gets back to, right? It does a nice little B flat there. Yeah, jazzy melody. Okay, so let me do that part again. Let's do what we have so far. I always write the fingering out for you guys. Nice and slow. And then I go pinky up, pinky down, and we on the F chord. F sharp diminished. Back to the first. All right, da ba da da. And just so you know, that's a fun little diminished trick that we'll talk about later, and we talk about a lot. And then it goes to the next part. This part right here is so much fun because you're doing a ton of things when you do this. Let me do it again. So I'm doing what's called a D Dorian scale. When you learn about the most common progression in jazz, it's 2-5-1, right? You probably heard that 2-5-1, and we have tons of PDFs for that 2-5-1, and all it is saying for D, and everybody can learn. This is a really important scale, is to make sure you have D minor. D minor. All right. The Speed Police has come out to say I'm going too fast. I'm guessing. Doug is giving me, is that a warning, Doug? I just want to make sure we're good on that. He's writing me a warning. Anytime the police, he's the Speed Police. All right, let's do this. A D Dorian scale, if you have your C major scale and then you go up to D and play all white notes, that is your D Dorian scale, okay? If you need a 2-5-1, the most common progression in jazz, and you do D Dorian, D minor. All right, watch this. All white notes, that's your D Dorian scale. So if you needed something to improvise over that scale is going to work. Okay, the next thing is our G Mixolydian scale is all white notes. Now, what I'm telling you right now is I'm going to tell you something really important so that you don't get overwhelmed. C major, all white notes, right? It has modes. That's called the Ionian mode. But each scale has modes. So if I go up to the D, that's a mode from C major. Now it's D Dorian. Okay? So when I go up to the fifth note, and each one has its name. Ionian, you have your Phrygian, you have your Lydian, you have your Mixolydian, all these fancy names. But when I get up to the fifth note, it's called Mixolydian. We've said that many times at iMusicAcademy, the Mixolydian scale, all white notes. So if I needed things to, let's go back to take the A train if we're improvising over that. And right here I go D minor. I could use all these white notes for my Dorian. And G, I can go Mixolydian. C major. D Dorian. Here's D Dorian. G Mixolydian. So just know that there are modes that you learn, even as a beginner. I want you guys to know that I do have beginning resources, and Doug and anybody else who needs those beginning resources to learn about modes and things like that, don't worry, we will refresh those. And Doug, you are new here, relatively new here, and so is Bill and several people. So just know that we do these kinds of things all the time where we dig deep into theory and things like that. All right, let's finish up by doing these really fun things from this etude. This etude right here, this part, the D Dorian does this. So the first part is Dorian. It's all white notes, but then it's about to go to the G chord. And then I did something called the enclosure. Do you guys remember what an enclosure is? When you surround the note, like we're surrounding the third of G. So we go. That's a great thing to practice. And then chromatically, okay? So let's do that. Now that's an example of something you want to practice and really get into your playing, because you could take that same idea, right? That's a really fun idea, and it starts on the D minor. All right, now you guys still with me? I want to show you, we have just a couple more lines for this entire etude and you're going to have it. So the reason I wrote out some things that fit right under the hand, and also some things related to sort of generic kind of scales or improv that teach some really important things, like this right here from the etude, D minor and up to the third is a neat little enclosure, and then a little bit of chromaticism. So we have this. So it doesn't matter what key you're in. Isn't that a neat thing to be able to start thinking about? That's why I put that in there. It's a really kind of a familiar scale to go Dorian, and then you skip from the fifth up to the flat seven. And then I do the enclosure right there. Hey, good to see you, Vance. Hey, everybody give a round of applause for Vance, who upgraded to the elite membership in the YouTube community. Good job, Vance. All right, so watch this. Again. What a great thing to practice. In fact, if you want to take this etude and really dig into those two measures right there, and I want you to notice something for the D minor to G13, this right here, notice that it kind of gets in the way of my right hand. Whenever I have things that overlap, I'll just literally play the notes on the bottom that actually don't get overlapped, and just have your thumb kind of hanging away from that. So I might do this. And then I'm back here. Okay, so that's a great lick to add. So far we have this. Then it does this on the F. Diminished. And this. And now we have the run. Okay. What I love about that particular one right there, that's right, elite syncopation. Yeah, of this idea. What a great thing to practice. Okay, now the very last part is what we call a generic arpeggio that you hear all the time. Probably everybody has heard this. Okay, again. Let me do it again. Let me do it right. Or you might hear it like it's written, like this. Or you could do it like this. Or this. It's the same thing over and over, just different ways of reorganizing the notes. The way I wrote it here is a way that it's very common to do. If I'm doing a 1, 6, 2, 5, again, you can end almost do a turnaround this way on most songs, and you do this. The third of the C down to the third of A, and then watch what happens. It goes up to the flat 9, and then scale down. And then it's on the minor third of D. Watch this. And then the flat 9 of G. So we have da 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 da, and instead of you can go up the arpeggio, or you can go up the top and come down this scale. So that's the way it's written. Go up and come down the scale. If you guys are with me. And what it's doing, just so we're good, is it's creating this really, really important sound in the jazz world called the flat 9 sound. This idea of from A, that's the flat 9 sound. And I could even go play diminished chord going up the same 4 notes over and over. But when I'm on C, I go diminished chord, right? All those notes would work. And when I go to D, I go D minor. There's the flat third. And then I could do the same exact thing. Third up to the flat 9. So that diminished. Same exact thing. Now, if you're new to iMusicAcademy or you're just hanging out in the YouTube channel, just know that this is not something that's the first time that I'm telling you how you can do these tricks. Like, for instance, whenever you're on a dominant chord, you can go up a half step, and now you can play a diminished chord. That's a chord built on minor thirds. 3 half steps away, 3 half steps away, 3 half steps away. And so you have these 4 notes right here. Above my dominant chord, G, I go A flat, B, D, F. I can invert that, put the bottom on top. Now I have the same 4 notes. I can invert that again, put the bottom on the top, same 4 notes, and then it starts over again. You can go up and down, same thing. Okay, so that gets you that flat 9 sound. So when you hear that, you hear me go C. Here's the flat 9 sound. It's just. And then you do this, D minor. Same thing, I went up from the G, up a half step, and that gets you that flat 9 sound again. All right, let's put the whole etude together really slowly. We're gonna go F chord, pinky up, down, pinky down, and then we're at the F chord, diminished, go. Actually, at the last one I did up. So you can go, or, okay, so the last part. All right, so here's the way you're going to practice this. You have the track, and Vance, as soon as we get done with this, I'm putting this into the YouTube membership. So our YouTube members, as well as our musicians and our elite members, are going to get that this week. All right, here we go. Let me turn on the track. I'll show you how to practice this because the track is in there as well. It's a little bit fast. I will redo this. So you're going to get your voicings going. 2 and 3. You just practice one idea at a time. 2 and 3 and 4. All right, let's talk a couple more things. When you have the track on, and we're going to wind this lesson up here, but I want you to know you don't have to like play everything all the way through. You can just pick 1 or 2 spots. And also, if maybe you want to do something simple like this. If I just have my first 5 notes of the blues scale, I could just stay here, or I can go down to the A, first 4 notes of the A blues scale. Now maybe do the lick. And maybe here I go. All right, let me go ahead and stop it. So tons of options as to how you want to do it, but think very simple, especially as you're getting the left-hand voicings together. All right, guys, have you enjoyed this lesson? I hope so. I hope so, because you can do this, all of you. Left-hand voicings, they're very good to work on left-hand only, and then right-hand only, just go do-da-do-dee-bum, do-da-do-dee-dum, pinky up, pinky down. All right, what questions do you have before we get off this lesson? I felt like I avoided getting a ticket there somewhere in the middle. What do you think, Doug? So as soon as we hang up, I am going to post inside the membership area. Awesome. Very good. So we will, on Thursday, for our all access group, we're not only going to review, but we're going to review the same Etude, just so we good. Watch this. Watch this. We have this. What are you talking about, Vance? Inside the membership area? Or are you talking about just my YouTube channel? All right, guys, just like every time, you get to say goodbye to each other, so go ahead and do that now, and I'll see you guys for Chord Academy. Actually, we're not going to have Chord Academy tomorrow. We're going to have an all-access thing on Thursday because we start our music camp tomorrow, and I will not be here. We have 70 kids coming to a music camp, and so it's going to be a lot of fun, but craziness. So no Chord Academy tomorrow, and we'll make it up. Yep. All right, guys, have a good one. I'll see you guys in the next one. Make sure you say goodbye to each other.